They know your numbers for a healthy weight, but what about your body mass index? What about your blood pressure? Well, today on House Call, we're looking at the numbers that you need to know to stay healthy, especially when it comes to your heart. We're joined by Chris Burge. He's an advanced nurse practitioner with the Cone Health Medical Group Heart Care at Burlington. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. So first of all, let's talk about what everybody knows about, and that's your blood pressure. What is a healthy blood pressure?
So there's two components to our blood pressure. It's the systolic or top number and diastolic or bottom number. Typically what we want our patients to have is a systolic or top number of less than 120 and a bottom number of less than 80. Those would both be ideal.
So what does systolic reflect and what does diastolic reflect?
So systolic is the pressure in our arteries when our heart is actually squeezing, while diastolic is the pressure in our arteries when our heart is actually relaxing.
So it's the boof and the boof.
The lub and the dub.
Yeah, lub and the dub. There you go. All right, what about your BMI? Because, you know, people tend to think about BMI as, you know, whether or not they're slim or not, but there's a whole lot more that goes into that.
So your body mass index is a way of looking at your weight when also considering your height. And so a normal body mass index would be less than 25. That's a fairly lofty goal, but we want to hold our patients to that level. Between 25 and 30, and patients would be considered overweight, and greater than 30 would be considered obese.
So how do you determine a person's body mass index?
Again, it's just a calculation of looking at what their weight is and also taking into account what their height is.
And it really is you got to work the numbers, right?
You got to work the numbers, that's right. Yeah.
Essentially. So let's talk a little bit about something called your A1C, right?
So your hemoglobin A1C is a relative measure of what your blood glucose runs over a 3-month time period. And our primary care doctors at Cone Health work pretty hard to prevent diabetes and also to treat people who are diabetic. And so those who have A1Cs of 6.5 or greater are considered diabetic. Those between 5.7 and 6.4 would be considered pre-diabetic, and ideally then we would hope that individuals would have A1Cs less than 5.7.
And all of these add into your heart health, don't they?
That's absolutely right. And you know, the biggest focus, sort of the mainstays of prevention remain diet and exercise, you know, and so from a dietary standpoint, we really want to focus on lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, you know, whole grains, and maybe to a lesser extent nuts and lean proteins. And then also with regards to exercise, we have pretty specific recommendations, including at least 30 minutes a day of regular exercise for about 150 minutes a week would be reasonable. For those more inclined, 75 minutes of more vigorous activity would just do the trick as well.
When does your pulse or your heart rate add into this at all?
So we want to see, from an exercise standpoint, we want to see your heart rate elevate. You know, depending on your age, we have different goals for what your heart rate might or should be when you exercise. But certainly, by exercising and raising our heart rates, the times we're not exercising, we actually lower our heart rate, which is good for us.
And real quickly, we haven't discussed one really important number that you need to know, and that's your cholesterol.
Yeah, so it's pretty well understood that cholesterol values do contribute to a lifetime risk of developing heart disease. In general, or at least historically, we focused on total cholesterol values of less than 200. Over the years, guidelines and recommendations have changed some, and so we really focus more on primary prevention and things like healthy lifestyles and risk factor modification. Not everybody who has quote-unquote high cholesterol requires medication, but those with risk factors like diabetes, prior history of heart or vascular disease, or family histories of very high levels of cholesterol should talk to their doctor or their nurse practitioner or PA, because they're going to end up requiring some form of medication.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A lot of numbers to know about, but just remember, healthy. You want to be healthy, and if you want to know how to be healthy, there are a lot of lifestyle tools on the Cone Health website. There's a video called 5 Ways to Take Control of Your Heart Health. You can find it at conehealth.com/wellness-on-demand. And Cone Health Heart and Vascular Care offers a variety of other resources that you can find as well. You can go to conehealth.com/heart to find those.
House Call on Fox 8 is sponsored by Cone Health.